number one. Moving on to the other big story, shocking story, ladies and gentlemen. Last year in October, 27-year-old Shraddha Walkar was butchered by her live-in partner Aftab Poonawala. Her body chopped into 35 pieces, stored in a refrigerator and then disposed of in a nearby forest. A similar horror story has been reported from the national capital, where a young girl, Nikki Yadav, was first killed by her lover, her live-in partner, on February 10th, and her body stuffed in a freezer of a dhaba in Delhi's Najafgarh. What's more appalling is that the accused then married another woman just hours after killing his live-in partner. The police probe has revealed that the accused, Sahil, strangled Nikki Yadav in his car with a mobile cable and then drove for 35 kilometers from the crime spot to dump her body. The investigation has also revealed that the murder was not due to any sudden provocation, as Sahil had planned his marriage 6 months in advance. However, the accused has said that he killed Nikki after she fought with him over his marriage plans on February 10th. Listen in to what the police had to say.
साहिल गहलोत नाम के व्यक्ति का निक्की यादव एक महिला के साथ मित्रता थी। 2018 से दोनों एक दूसरे को जानते थे। साहिल के परिवार वालों ने उनका रिश्ता तय कर दिया था और इस 9 फरवरी की उनकी मंगनी थी। 10 फरवरी को शादी होनी थी। 9 तारीख को उनकी महिला मित्र निक्की यादव को पता चला तो उन्होंने कन्फ्रंट करने के लिए उनको बुलाया था और रात को जब ये मिले हैं तो उस टाइम पे इनमें आपस में बहस हुई और उसमें गुस्से में आकर साहिल ने अपनी महिला मित्र का अपने मोबाइल फ़ोन के केबल से गला घोंटकर उनका मर्डर कर दिया।
The family of Nikki Yadav is traumatized after her death and has demanded death penalty for the accused.
क्यों ऐसे हमारी बेटी के साथ पूरा अन्याय हुआ है, उसको मैं चाहता हूँ कि उसको सरकार सजाए मौत दे।
One of the neighbors of the accused has also confirmed that he got married on 10th February, that is just a day after Nikki's murder. Meanwhile, the Congress has accused the centre of failing to control law and order and all the politics around it. Let's go across straight to our debate, and joining me tonight, Dr. Harish Shetty, psychiatrist. Also joining me, Yashovardhan Azad, former IPS, Dilip Cherian, founder of Perfect Relations, Abha Singh, lawyer and activist. I want to go to our psychiatrist expert tonight, Dr. Harish Shetty. Dr. Harish Shetty, another murder now reported close on the heels of Shraddha's murder case. And somehow, killing people, putting them in refrigerators just seems to be another day in the national capital. I just want to, understand, is this now becoming a trend? Is this, I'm not getting into the morality questions, but, murdering a person, dumping the body in a refrigerator and going across and marrying another woman the same day within hours of both these events. What do you think is leading to this kind of a mindset? Is this really becoming a societal trend? And what are we to make of it?
The first thing is latent psychopaths always existed in the society, but earlier they were controlled by social norms and social pressures. In an era of globalisation, where there is anonymity all around, where there is disconnection all around, these latent traits are visible and they are enacted. So whether is it a trend or not, well, just like copycat suicides is scientifically proved, we need to also look at copycat murders, whether it actually happens and is actually inspired by somebody else. But the point is, one blatantly kills somebody in the most devastating manner, and there's no guilt or remorse, and one goes and gets married. So these are the people who always existed, but the point is, in this era they can carry out the crimes because anonymity emboldens them to do it. At the same time, what is very shocking is that in the past we had faith in our parents and would share bad news with our parents very early. So as of now, in this era of rapid pace, probably girls and boys don't have time to share the bad news, or the environment around her inside the family is that you cannot share this bad news in a very orthodox family where there are autocratic parents probably, and so what happens is there's isolation, there's control, there's possessiveness, and there is this mishap and this death trap.
Well, Dilip Cherry, societal pressures, anonymity, these exist in Western societies as well. You know, what is it that we are seeing in India? Is it different from societies abroad, or is this balancing? I mean, at least in this particular case of Nikki Yadav, at least so far what the police tells us that they were known to each other from 2018. So from 2018 to 2023, nobody in their homes knew about a relationship of this kind. The girl is living and, living in with this guy. A sister of the girl is living with her from the details that have come out so far. I'm not quite getting the sense of whether it is the...
which has already been spoken about. So this permissiveness allows, especially middle-class males to be, in some senses, far more, shall we say, active and socially, they're preying, as it were, on girls. And girls are unable to either share or have the kind of strong family framework with which to, double check what's going on in their lives. So this is actually new, Navika. We need to understand that this phenomena of this kind of urbanization and middle class lack of morality is about 30 to 40 years old. And we are seeing a generation which has completely been brought up in that, coming to age, and this kind of thing, copycat or otherwise, is in a sad and pathetic sense being accepted as some kind of passing norm. I only hope that this does not embed itself in our society. And we've seen other societies globally go through this kind of phenomena at some time or the other.
Well, Abha Singh, let me ask you from a woman's perspective. Is this just about anonymity or permissiveness? Because this boy is actually marrying, somebody who his family wants him to marry. At least that's what we know from the details that have come out so far. And this marriage was fixed 6 months in advance. This girl, and they say, the police is saying that it wasn't as if there was a problem between, or he didn't know that the girl would react in this manner, Nikki would react in this manner. But he nonchalantly just kills her, dumps her in a refrigerator and goes and gets married. I mean, there has to be something absolutely cold and some connection quite cut in your mind to be able to do something as inhuman as this. How do you deal with this? And did this happen? Is it being reported now? We didn't know about this earlier. Is this a new phenomenon? Is it the cultures that are, coming face to face? On one side, a modern, morality-free society. On the other side, there are some parents who still put that pressure. Is this the face-off now between these two parts of a personality within people that is creating this?
Navika, you're very right. The culture is changing. On one side, you have the young generation in an open relationship, but there you have the parents who still want the children to marry as per their choice in their own community. You see, caste barriers have increased, but permissiveness has also increased. So this is the problem. The girl is a Yadav, boy is a Gehlot. The parents have not agreed to the marriage, but they could not stop them from living together. As a result, that is one reason. Secondly is the law. The law is faulty because you clearly say that if a boy is has a physical relationship with a girl and on the promise of false marriage or on promise of marriage, then it is rape. So then this boy is now defending himself that tomorrow I am not marrying her, she may file a rape case against me, so it is better I kill her. So there in his defense he has killed her. That is one theory which would be playing on his mind. And thirdly is the disconnect, because parents think the children are in a relationship, at least the girl's parents. Why are they having a disconnect? In Shraddha's case, the father did not know for a month. In this case also, the parents have not filed a missing complaint. They don't know where the daughter is. He says that first we were going to Himachal, then we were going to Goa. Is this the way the parents of a girl child behave? But naturally are emboldening these rapists and murderers who are ready to kill these girls who are, as it is, physically weak. I mean, both the girls have died at the hands of their boyfriends. So we really need to think about it.
I want to ask Mr. Yashovardhan Azad, is this a new phenomenon, or as a police officer, have you seen incidents like this happening in the past? Cold-blooded murder, dumping in a refrigerator, going ahead, you know, getting dressed and getting into the festivities of a wedding. I mean, is this normal?
Well, certainly it's not normal, but cold-blooded murders have been taking place for time immemorial. And it's not only a unique feature for India. You remember that top athlete from South Africa who murdered shot his lover and is still on trial for the last 10 years. You see, I think there's a complete failure of our hypocritical society to accept, you know, love marriages, to accept live-in relationships, to accept divorces, which kind of deprives our young women to share their woes even with their own parents or with their peers. And this is exactly what happens in this case. And then I come to the other side of the policing, whether we can, you know, kind of prevent these cases. You keep the police busy with, you know, VIP security to 100,000 things that they are not able to look at community policing, which is a very, very critical aspect, because after all, the police is meant for the public. If you see the resident welfare societies, they don't allow live-in relationships in their flats. So these two people who are in love with each other get all kinds of certificates, or they show that they are married, and that is how they stay there. As a result, their secret lives are virtually out of purview of anybody. So even a beat constable or even a neighbor doesn't even know what is happening. And lastly, the poor girl doesn't even visit the police station because she realizes that even the police, with their moral policing all up their, you know, mind, will say, "Arey, how can we accept a complaint from her because she's actually in a live-in relationship?" So we need a lot of things to set this right. And Navika, I'm happy you brought this point today, because with these three kind of incidents which have taken place, I think we need to wake up. And almost on every front, we need to do something about it.
Well, Dilip Cherian, I want to ask you this. When Shraddha murder case was reported, it was made out to be a case where there was a communal angle as well. You know, people from different faiths had come together, they couldn't get together, this, that, and the other. Now, in this case, there is no communal angle either. Now the caste angle comes up. How many of these barriers are there, and are we really a progressive society? We become permissive at one end, on the other we haven't shed our baggage of the societal divisions that we've had for centuries. Going forward, how do we resolve these issues in our society, especially in urban India, which and with the internet, with the kind of exposure children today have and youngsters today have, to world media, films, etc., etc. How do we sort of bring some sense of sanity between the two worlds that we see, one in our homes and one that we see on screens?
Well put, Navika. The fact is that this new urban melting pot that we are all part of is also a clash of multiple civilizations. The civilizations you named are creed and caste. But there are many more. There's urban and rural, there's middle class and upper middle class and lower class. There's all kinds of clashes that we are victims and we are all jointly passing through. Is this more in India? The answer is most definitely, because we are a multivariate society. The kinds of divisions we have, the kind of regional diversities we have, all of them play out in far greater and far more painful elements than in many other societies. Will this pass? I am optimistic enough to say that it will pass. But these are part of the maturing process. What Mr. Azad has talked about, community policing and more open norms, those are what urban centers are dying for. The kind of structures that exist actually are inimical to the creation of the next generation's, more fluid, more open kind of society. And unless this clash resolves itself, we are going to have these kinds of examples of violence, extreme violence playing out as a result of these clashes.
Well, to the psychiatrist expert, Dr. Shetty, my question is, what do we need to do as parents? Now, are there going to be different prescriptions for parents of middle class, upper middle class, lower middle class? What do we do as a society?
Absolutely. Just to go back to the, is it unique? Well, in the past, khap panchayats, honor killings were very known. The father would kill the daughter, or the boy's father would kill the girl. So this probably is an extension where the boy started killing the girl. Now, as far as prevention is concerned, what is very important is we use this phrase across all parents. If your child or your young boy or girl is in distress, hug them a little longer and a little stronger, so that you don't reject them, but they are available for correction and reform. That is number one. Number two, helping sharing bad news in the family, which means if the parents share bad news among themselves openly, the child would come back and say, oh, I have a boyfriend, but he's asking me all my passwords. I have a boyfriend, but he's saying, don't tell this to your mother, don't tell this to your father. These are some interventions which should be done in the family. And the third and the last thing is, well, if you start reconnecting in small numbers in mohallas, buildings, etc., you will bring down violence as well as suicide, because they can be detected much earlier. The red flags will be seen much earlier.
Well said, Dr. Shetty. Thank you to all my panelists. It's time to reconnect, not just with your children, but also with your neighbors, with people around you, because there seems to be a disconnect, and that disconnect could be creating upheavals in our society. We'll have to fix it, because there is no police that can be inside your homes to protect you from yourself. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me on the News Hour tonight. Good night. Be safe.